Alright then guys, today we're making a simple, reliable wholemeal bread. No fuss, no special equipment, just good ingredients and a method that works every time. And for this loaf you'll need some wholemeal bread flour, warm water, yeast, salt, a bit of sugar to get the yeast working and a little oil. That's it, simple ingredients with great results. And as usual I'll put the full recipe at the end of the video. I'm using fresh yeast for this recipe, but you can use instant or active dried yeast. Just adjust your quantities accordingly. I'll put a conversion chart at the end of the video, but we'll go into this in a lot more detail in the upcoming yeast video. So 20 grams of fresh yeast. That block of yeast only arrived the day I made this bread, so I popped it back in the fridge and later on in the day I cut it into smaller pieces for freezing. We need 350 ml of warm water and 8 grams of sugar. The sugar's to get the yeast going. For a white loaf we'd normally use about 300-320 ml of warm water, but you need a bit more with wholemeal flour because the bran soaks up quite a lot of the water. Just takes a little bit longer to hydrate. Stir the sugar into the water to get it dissolved, and then pop in the yeast and stir that in as well. Even if you're using instant yeast in this recipe, it's not a bad idea to repeat this step. It gets the yeast going. Set the watery yeast mix to one side for 5 minutes and then weigh out your flour. 500 grams of strong wholemeal bread flour. Add 8 grams of salt and give it a mix in. Add the yeast to the flour and mix it all together. This only takes a minute or so. If anyone out there in YouTube land would like me to try a particular bread recipe, drop me a line in the comments and we'll see what we can do, eh? When it's all come together, get in there with your hand and give it all a good squidging. Get that flour hydrated. Tip the dough out onto your work surface and give it a bit of a kneading. Let's call it a first knead, just to get the gluten strands forming before we give it a rest. And again, this only takes a minute or so. Form the dough into a ball, cover it and let it rest for about 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes, pop the dough into a bowl and add 15 ml of vegetable oil. Now, I've seen a few videos do this, so I thought I'd give it a try. Normally you'd put the oil in at the beginning, but I tell you what, this didn't have to make the kneading easier. Tip the dough out onto your work surface and knead for about 6 to 8 minutes. Push, fold and turn, push, fold and turn. It started off really easy. Try to avoid adding any extra flour if you can help it, but if it needs it, you have to add it. It's quite therapeutic kneading dough. Gives you time to think of things, and I normally play a bit of music, but I can't do that. I'd get a copyright strike from YouTube. After these 6 to 8 minutes, the dough will feel, well, like dough, a little bit airy, not quite so sticky. So form it into a ball and pop it into a bowl. Cover the bowl. I'm using my trusty old shower cap again. It's not an old shower cap, it's a special one for bread making. And put the bowl in a warm place until the dough has doubled in size, which will take about 60 to 90 minutes, an hour to an hour and a half. No set timing for this. The dough will let you know when it's ready because it will be double in size, just like that. Generously grease your loaf tin, 2-pound loaf tin for this one. Tip the dough out onto your work surface and punch the gas out. I folded the top to the centre, the bottom to the top, and once more for luck, and then right over the centre and left over the centre, and pushed it down again. Shape the dough into the size of your loaf tin, and place it in the loaf tin with the seam downwards. Cover the tin and leave it in a warm place for about 40 minutes. We want the dough to be just above the top of the tin if possible. And while it's doing the final rise, get your oven on preheating to 200 Celsius. Give the top of the dough a light dusting with flour, and it's in the oven, as we said, 200 Celsius for around 40 to 45 minutes. Well, it had to happen sooner or later, and I'm never too scared to show you the rough with the smooth. I came to tip this loaf out, and it was a little bit sticky, so I banged it a little bit harder, as you do. A little bit stuck there, you can see the cracks. That's where I rebuilt the loaf just to show you. But look at this. It's a nice loaf, by the way, nice and hollow. Now, I thought initially those black bits were just a bit burnt, and then I looked at the tin. The non-stick had come off, and it was all over the loaf. Look at that shiny bit there. Yep, so that tin is in the bin. And I remade the loaf, and this time I used an enamel tin. You've got to love the sound of a crusty loaf being cut open. Wow. That is good. Look at that. Well, lovely jubbly. A simple wholemeal loaf. Fantastic. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one, guys. That's your basic wholemeal bread. Nutty, hearty and perfect for everyday baking. Stay tuned. More bread recipes coming very soon. Take care out there.